From missionary to CEO, hard work, good mentors, and many blessings. I grew up working on farms around the area of northern Utah where I lived. I had my first job when I was 12, and I can't remember a time after that when I didn't have at least one job. During the first few months of my mission, I had the opportunity to spend nearly an entire day with my mission president. We had that time one-on-one. It was a terrific time. He told me, "Brett, I'm going to put you at the bottom of a high tree and ask you to climb it. When you do that, I'm going to take the branches off that tree and ask you to climb it again. Then, when you do that, I'm going to grease up that tree and ask you to climb it again. It will not be easy, but you will be the best missionary you can be." I looked up to my mission president and knew he would do everything in his power to teach me to be the best missionary and man I could be. I worked very hard, and the blessings started to pour in. I soon became a trainer, then a district leader, then a zone leader. Each time I felt I was placed at the bottom of a new tree, harder to climb, but that had more blessings at the top, so I climbed. I returned home from my mission in May 1998 and was immediately blessed with 2 jobs, the one I had left before my mission and a new one in a brand new field using technology I had never touched before. I got married and started attending Weber State University all within 4 months of being home. I knew that the blessings I was receiving were because of the hard work I had put in on my mission, and so I worked harder still. In 1991, our first child was born. I was called as a young men's president, and I got a terrific promotion at work that put me in a management position and also a position where I had to start traveling around the country. I had to quit my job at Pedersen's so that I could keep going to school, but even that became more difficult. But I put my head down and worked even harder. In 1993, our second child was born. I was called as executive secretary in our ward, and I got another promotion at my job. I knew these blessings were coming from the hard work that I was putting into my calling, at home, and also in my job. It seemed that the more blessings I received, the more work was piled on. I kept the phrase that my mission president had told me in mind, and I had a copy of it on my desk at work. And I kept imagining being at the bottom of another tree each time I had a challenge. And each time that I saw that challenge, I'd picture the blessings that I would receive once I reached the top of that tree. In 1996, our third child was born. I was placed at the bottom of another tree. This one included a calling as Stake Young Men's president, and it included a difficult decision to leave the company that hired me as a newly returned missionary and taught me so much about life and business. And I was going to a rapidly growing company in Salt Lake City called HealthWriter. Our prayers and fasting helped us decide to take the job, which I did, and started climbing yet another new tree. Nearly 2 years later, I found out why I needed to take the job at HealthWriter. It was to introduce me to several people and to take me to the next step in my life. In 1997, I was offered a new job in Washington, D.C. with a startup company. I would be one of 5 owners and would be the vice president of technology. This was the scariest decision I had ever had to make. And there were extended family members who had very strong opinions on why I should not move to one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the country. But our prayers told us that we should go, and we did. I was at the bottom of another tree. Another 2 years passed, and the tree I had started to climb in D.C. got much bigger. We sold the company that I was with, Eyes Now, to a competitor, and I had to make a decision to either stay with that company or find another job or start a company of my own, which is one of the deepest desires that I had in my heart. After prayer and much wrestling with the decision, I resigned my position with Eyes Now and started a brand new company called Positive Technology. With just one partner and I, and a goal to never be in debt, we worked harder than I had ever worked in my life. And I continued to do so for the next 2 years. In 2001, the blessings started to pour in. We had an opportunity to come out of the blue to buy a competitor in Arizona, which allowed me to move our family back to Utah and help grow our business almost overnight from a 3-person operation to a 12-person operation. We also won several industry awards, including the Microsoft Partner of the Year award, which we would go on to win 6 years in a row. It was a terrific time, but didn't go without its challenges. 8 years later, I was quickly placed at the bottom of another tree, one that I had never faced before. After growing our company to nearly 50 employees and 7 offices throughout the United States, fluctuations in our industry and major economic changes had us at the edge of a cliff. We decided to reduce staff by 20% and completely change our business model to meet the new challenges that were facing us. It was an extremely challenging time, and we had to admit defeat in some areas and wins in other areas, and we started to climb once again. Now, in 2013, I know that I am rising to the top of yet another tree because I am so blessed. We have one returned missionary who is going to school and working. We have another missionary in the field, and our daughter is doing very well in high school. We are serving in our callings, and our companies are growing well and flourishing. My mission president had given me a map of my life. Every time I reached the top of one tree, my Heavenly Father lovingly put me at the bottom of another, usually a bigger and harder tree to climb. I've grown and experienced so much because of this. That's not to say that I don't have some scars here and there, because I do. And I have made mistakes, but my Heavenly Father has always led me back and pushed me on.